Good morning.
Good morning.
Ain't God amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah, God, He's just amazing.
Amen.
I mean, just take a look at me. 42 years ago, the Lord saved me. 42 years. And I was a mess. But God took a mess
Come on.
and made something good out of it.
Amen.
That's why I say He's amazing. You know what I'd be looking forward to come here, and I experienced a little bit yesterday. It was tough for me to come this time because my wife is not doing too well, and I miss her. I usually take care of her, get up every morning, make sure she have a coffee, and that she's doing great, and and being here a week away from her is not easy for me. And the story about me and my wife, I was thinking about what I was going to say to you, what I was going to talk about. And what I'm going to talk about is that open door Mike talks about. And God opened the door for me 42 years ago. And He opened the door to show me how to love people. Because I didn't love anybody. I didn't even love myself. And my wife, Jackie, some of y'all know her, and she told me to tell you hi, and she loved you. I went through a divorce as well as the other preacher, and I don't know what God chose me to pastor, but He did. So I'm stuck, and He stuck with me.
Hallelujah.
But after divorce, I told the Lord, I don't want no girlfriend. Because if I get a girlfriend, then if that don't work, I'm going to get another one. And if that don't work, I'm going to get another one. So I want a wife.
Come on. Yes.
And Jackie, I knew her coming up. We was friends, but we never dated or anything like that. And the Lord spoke to me and told me, you are to marry her. Now you got to understand, she don't know nothing about it. God told me, you have to marry her. So, okay, Lord. Again, we were just friends. I went to Niagara Falls where she was, and we got to talking. And I told her that, and she looked at me like I was crazy. Now, this is her testimony. This is what she told the people. I told her the Lord told me that she was going to marry me. And she went, talked to the Lord. I said, well, just pray about it. Talk to the Lord. So she did. She went, she prayed. She told the Lord, she said, Lord, I don't even love him. He said, do you love me? She said, yes. Well, I'm in him.
Hallelujah.
We didn't date. We didn't have any dates. We didn't take no chances, all that old hooking and kissing, because you know what happened with that. We didn't have no date. I asked her, and 6 months later, we were married. And this year would be 27 years. So she's been great to me. How did I get here in Denver? I met a guy named Joe Weiner, right there. About 20 years ago now, Joe, ain't it? About 20 or 22 years ago. A missionary that we support in Africa, Tim, he told me about Joe and said I needed to get to meet him. And we kind of talked on the phone, and I flew into Flagstaff, Arizona from New York. And I met Joe. And we went and had dinner at Olive Garden. And the next Sunday, I preached at his church. Well, I didn't fall in love with Joe. I fell in love with the Jesus that's in him.
Come on.
And I think that's the same way he felt about me. God is a God that loves us. Amen. Regardless of who you are or what you are, God still loves you. Amen. And when I come here to Denver, I'm going to tell you why I came. I came to get a piece of heaven. Amen. How many of you know that God can bring a piece of heaven down here on earth.
Amen.
We experienced a little bit yesterday. Joe ushered it in.
Come
I don't
on.
know if you felt like it, but a little bit of heaven was here yesterday.
Hallelujah.
And that's why I come. I come to be ushered in to heaven. I love it here. And I remember yesterday when I went over to have something to eat. There's a young lady, I don't even know if she's in here. She must have knew that I needed something because she had asked me because she fixed my dinner. And she did. You know,
Hallelujah.
and I was completely blessed by that. And I'm blessed by every one of you guys. You may not know me, and I don't know all of you, but I can truly say that I love you. Fell in love with Ron through Joe. Mike through Joe.
Hallelujah.
Coney through Joe. And that's why I'm here in Denver, because I'm in love with y'all. So, Lord, what I'm going to talk about? Well, specifically, I guess I'm going to talk about love. And he spoke to me about a month ago. And I want you to turn your Bibles to the Gospel of John, real quickly. It's amazing how we as Christians have such a tough time loving one another. Ain't that something? And I shared this with my church, and I think I shared it with other folks. It's ironic how the devils can get along. All the demons don't fight each other. But it's something about us. We fight one another. That's why we can't get nowhere. You know, what did Jesus say? It's a house divided against itself won't stand.
Come on.
Listen, folks, if you can't love me down here, you ain't gonna love me in heaven. Well, you get up there and tell God you're in the wrong place. Now, as I read my Bible, it must be something about our spiritual man that's familiar with our earth suit. Because when the rich man opened his eyes in hell, he looked and he recognized Lazarus. And he recognized Abraham. So guess what? If you can't love me down here, don't be wanting to go up to heaven, because I'm going to be there, I'm going to bug you. All right, let's look at it. The Gospel of John, chapter 13. And look at 34. It's amazing what God says. He said, a new commandment I give unto you, a new one, that you love one another as I have loved you. That you also love one another. This is to the church. Say, this is for us.
This is for us.
He says, by this, by what? By the love that you have for one another. By this, all, say all men know that you are my disciples, if you have love one to another. You know how the world knows that we love each other? Because we show it.
Yes.
Now, I don't know why some people don't like other folks. As a young child, as a young boy, I made 71 about 2 weeks ago. The Lord, the Lord saved me at 29, and 42 years later, I'm 71, and still saved. I haven't been through a lot, but God has always been there with me. Now, I was born in Arkansas, 1947. You know, in Arkansas, it was pretty racist. Now, racism is not inherited. It's taught. Any of y'all know that? I was taught to hate white people. I was taught. because they didn't like me, I wasn't supposed to like them. But that door that opened in 42 years ago, how many know God got a sense of humor? The Lord saved me. He put me in a white church, and I was the only black thing in it. Can you imagine that? God had a sense of humor. You know what he wanted to do is show me that everybody's the same.
Yes.
Now, if we're different, then what are we going to do with Adam and Eve? Do you think we have different ones? They created a Chinese Adam and Eve, a black Adam and Eve, a white Adam and Eve, huh? An Indian Adam and Eve? Or was it just one? But growing up in the South as a young boy, and we was in segregated schools, and we didn't have much either because we were poor too, but I was happy. Sister Joanne told me about the toys. You know, we used to make our own.
Yeah.
We used to play. We used to make our own little speakers, get a can and put a string to it. We'd be talking on it. We made my own gun, get me a stick and put one in the bottom. I had me a good machine gun. We didn't have much, but we were happy. But the one thing that really got to me is, why do people hate me? You got to go back with me, because I was probably about 8 or 9. And everywhere we went, we was treated different. And we went to a restaurant. We had to go to the back of the restaurant and get the food in a bag. You thought doggy bags was something they just created now? That's how we used to be treated. We're going to, I remember this, I was 13, and my grandfather had died, and we had to go south. And we just happened to stop at a hamburger stand in Alabama. And we got out and went up to the gate, and they said, we don't serve niggas here. So I grew up with a lot of resentment, a lot of hate. At 22, I was a militant. Didn't like myself, and I sure didn't like white people. But God did something for me. That door opened. He saved me. See, I didn't get saved. I didn't even want to be saved. Anybody say you got saved, you ain't got saved. You wasn't. God ain't never been lost. You was. He saved you. See, God saved me because I didn't want to be saved. I enjoyed the sin I was doing. And anybody here tell me you didn't enjoy sinning, you're a liar. Because if you didn't enjoy it, you wouldn't have been doing it. Amen. And just in case, I'd like for you to respond to me too. But if you don't, I brought about 10 amens in my pocket, and I'll take them. Loving God with all your heart, with all your soul, and all your mind, and loving your neighbor as yourself, he said, on these 2 commandments hang all the law and the prophet. In other words, if you are not doing these 2, you're wasting your time. Because on these 2 hang all the laws and prophets. So if you don't love me, you're wasting your time. That's right. 1 John, chapter 1. So you better listen to him. Come on, so you better listen to him.
You better listen to him.
See, I'm just trying to help you. And I'm only the mailman. Notice, there's nothing that I'm reading says Willie chapter 2, verse 4. This book never changes.
Yeah.
It never changes. And you know, I used to always say, we used to say, the white man wrote the Bible. Yeah, we used to say that so that they enslave and entrap us. But see, I got to a point where it didn't matter to me who wrote it. A monkey could have wrote it, as long as it worked. And if a man did write it, how come he can't live it? If I had the opportunity to write the Bible, I would have wrote everything in it that I wanted to do. Wouldn't you? Now, God used man to pencil it in, but man couldn't think of this. And so you see how foolish we were? Man wrote the Bible. Well, why can't he live it then? You know it's tough for me to live it? How many of y'all have trouble living this thing? Oh, I know everybody here never made a mistake. So if you never made a mistake, get up, come up here, because I want to rub next to you. It might rub off on me. Because in the 42 years that I've been saved, I've made some mistakes. And I'm so glad that God loved me enough to forgive me.
Yes.
How about you? Now, what did I say? What scripture I gave?
1 John.
1 John, right?
Yeah.
1 John chapter 3. Let's go real quick. And y'all want to know why they put this here thing down here on the floor. About 2-3 years ago, I was diagnosed with bone-to-bone arthritis in both knees. And it's hard for me to even stand 5 minutes, but I can preach every Sunday for an hour. God is something.
Yes, there is.
Now let's look at here. What did I say? 1 John chapter 3. Now look at this. I don't know, maybe you didn't read it before. But he said, we know that we have passed from death unto life because we love the brethren. Wow.
Come on.
Is that heavy?
Yes.
He that loveth not his brother abides in death. Whosoever he that loveth not his brother abides in death. So what signify us passing from death to life? By loving our brother.
Yes.
You know, I can't help but to love you. That's part of us. And if I see you every day, but I ain't never saw God, how can I say I love God who I never seen and hate my sister who I see all the time? How's that possible? But I know that I passed from death to life because I love you. And ain't nothing you can do about it. You got that? You stuck with me loving you. Now whether you love me or not, that's your problem.
Come on. Come on.
Because I'm not going to hell for you. God told me to love, regardless of situation. Now I'm going to tell you some people that I found out that I didn't like their ways. I done met a lot of them. I didn't even invite some of them to leave my church. But it don't mean I don't love them. See, being a pastor, you got to love everybody. It's tough pastoring a church because you get all kind.
Come on.
All kind.
Come on.
And you got to love them all. And they all different. It's amazing. I've been hearing all of the talks about the billions of people in Africa and India and all of that. Just think this. Listen, think about this. All the billions of people in the world, there's not two got the same fingerprint. No two have the same DNA. And you won't tell me we came from a monkey? If that's the case, Why is Monkey still here? Amen? If we didn't accelerate it, the amoeba gone, right? They said the amoeba came out the water and then it kept going until it got to be something else. And then the caveman was looking this way and he finally got to the upright man. Well, what happened to all those? It's amazing that God created us and he created us different. Don't you know every one of you got a different personality? Out of all the people in my church, I ain't got two just alike. Everyone have different problems. Just again, all the people in the world, ain't none of them got the same fingerprint. Like two snowflakes ain't the same.
Come on.
God is amazing. And I don't know why he made me, but I'm glad. Okay, let's see. I'm getting there. Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5. See, what we shared earlier, that God gave a new commandment to his disciples. See, we are different. He didn't tell everybody that. He just told his disciples. He said, a new commandment I give you, that you love one another. So that all men will know you my disciples. He already told us how to love people before that. So we look at Matthew 5. Is that what I said?
Yes.
44. Let's look at that. Matthew 5:44. Listen what it says. But I say unto you, love your enemies. Man, love your enemies? Love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you. Maybe is God talking to us? I mean, my Bible's in red, so it must be Jesus talking. He says, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. I don't know about your church, but kind of in the African American churches, and some of them want to fight. They don't want to pray for their enemies. They want to lay down their religion for a while and get it on. Yeah, absolutely. I have saw people fighting in church parking lots. And they supposed to be Christian. Now, if Jesus told us to love our enemies, what do you think you're supposed to do with your brother?
Yes.
Again, God is amazing, y'all.
Yes.
And again, I haven't changed anything. That's this book. This is here. I'm only telling you what I read. Let's see. 1 John 4. I'm going to be done here in a minute. First John chapter 4. You know, I get a blessing every time I come. We used to go to Flagstaff. Pastor Joe used to have a conference every year. And even if, coming here, I don't even have to preach. Because I preach every Sunday at my church. Sometimes I get tired of preaching. But I just love being here. And I remember the last conference Joe had, my mind was completely made up. I was 65, I think, or going to be. And I'm telling God it's time to retire. I worked for Chrysler for 30 years. I went to work at Chrysler when I was 24 years old. And I retired when I was 54. I retired from Chrysler in 2001. This year would be 17 years I've been retired from a circular job. And I thought maybe it's time to retire from pastor. So when I came to Joe's last conference, my mind was made up. Now, he didn't know nothing about it. And Tyler sure didn't know nothing about it. But he spoke into my life and said, it ain't time to retire. I don't know who told him that, because I didn't. And I've been trying to retire ever since. Every time I get ready to retire, God says something else. And so, of course, this year, April 16th, I made 71. My wife is 72. So she's been pushing me to retire. My girls have been pushing me. They all moved to Atlanta. We just need to move. And I said, well, Lord, maybe it's time. So I started making plans that we'll go and we'll move to Atlanta, and I'll just go back and forth to the church for a while. And then I asked the Lord. He said, show me someone in the Bible that retired. I'm still looking. Because I want to tell him so he can let me go, but it's not there. In the Old Testament, it says that they did what they was doing until they gave up the ghost. Well, I guess when I give up the ghost, it's time to quit, right? Let's see. 1 John 4, right? Verse 7. So it's been a challenge for me. This year be 24 years of pastor. But I enjoy it. Okay. 4 and 7. It says, look what it says. It says, beloved, let us love one another. I wonder why God keeps saying the same thing. Is he trying to get a message across to us? I'm hoping that some of you guys are listening to me. You know, it's amazing that since I've been here at this conference, the Lord been speaking to me. The young man that was preaching before the first one, he was talking about the gifts of the Spirit. I've been preaching on the gifts of the Spirit in my church for about a month and a half. That's all I was teaching on the gifts, and especially prophesying. And a young lady had a dream last week. She got up in the church and she shared her dream and the testimony. In the dream, she said that the rapture occurred and she was seeing all the people going up, but she wasn't going nowhere. And she was waiting for her to go, but after everybody left and the light disappeared, she was still here. And somebody had shot her. I'm just trying to remember what she said. But anyway, it was that the rapture occurred, she was left behind. And it scared her, frightened her. And so I've been praying. I said, Lord, what was that? What was you saying to her? And he gave me the interpretation of that. It wasn't her. He was speaking to our church. Do you know there's a lot of people in church going to miss it? Do y'all hear me?
Yes.
There's a lot of folks, the rapture is going to happen, and some of us going to be left. Because we don't love one another. That right there will keep you from heaven.
Yes.
If you don't love, it's not an option, church. Love is not an option. You know how you can get air conditioning on your car and cruise control, and you can upgrade it and get the bigger tires? Love is not an option. You can't say, Lord, I don't want to love them. Not an option. So if you don't love, you ain't going up. It's amazing again how we can miss it. The Bible say, listen, the Bible say, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. You got to know who you are. And you got to love, regardless. It don't matter what they look like. It don't matter how big they are. It don't matter what color they are. It doesn't matter if they smell or stink. You smell in God's nose. Amen. when the Lord saved me, man, people didn't want to see me coming before. They didn't want to see me. I'm at the plant, at the plant where I work. I'm the guy they got the drugs from. I should be. If I would get everything I deserve, I should be in jail. I should be in prison. I done sold more marijuana than anybody. I smoke more than I sold. I was a mess. But God loved me regardless of what I was. He still came and saved me.
Yes.
Who are you to judge who should be saved or who should not be? Oh, I don't want to go there. He said, "Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God. And everyone that loveth is born of God and knoweth God. He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love." Now, is that plain? I don't have to interpret that. If you don't love me, you don't love God. God is love. The church need to wake it up. We need to wake up. It's more to it than praise and worship and give me a word. What you do with the word? Let's have a piece of heaven right here on earth. Amen? That's what I want. God, usher in a piece of heaven. Joe got us up. Just stand to your feet. Yesterday, I felt so good. It was like that heaven just came down just for a moment. Can we imagine? The Bible said eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard. It ain't even entered into the hearts of man what God have bestowed before him. We don't even know. We don't even have a clue. But I can tell you what, I don't want to stay here.
Amen.
I want to be with God. And if loving you gonna get me there, I'm gonna love you. And if the sinners, if the people get on your nerve, if the ones that don't want to love, just love the hell out of them and then they'll get saved. Huh? Just keep on loving. Keep on loving. Because that's what it's about.